Hi, everyone. This is Lauren Fogelman. I have Leslie Pyle with me. And Leslie, would you like to kick things off for us?
Yes, I would. So thank you all for joining us for this webinar, this free webinar that Lauren has so graciously offered to the HerAmong community. We're going to be talking about 5 critical steps to successfully raise your rates without losing clients. So a little bit about Lauren. I met Lauren through HerAmong. She had posted a job and we just connected and interacted for a while and discovered that this might be a great topic for our audience. So a little about Lauren. She was recognized by HubSpot as one of the top 22 coaches in 2018. So props to you, that's awesome. She's also a keynote speaker and she delivers talks and workshops across the United States at major conferences like Inbound, which is one of the world's most esteemed content marketing events for entrepreneurs, as well as many niche conferences. Lauren is an expert in pricing strategy and sales, so she's going to be able to help us all out with that. She coaches service-based entrepreneurs like you all to shift away from the dollars per hour model to a value-based model that reduces the workload by as much as 50%, yay, while doubling your revenues. So that's good news. So Lauren, do you want to just kind of share about your background and how you became a pricing and sales expert?
Absolutely. And thanks for taking the lead with the introduction. Basically, a little bit about me is I am a sports psychologist turned business coach. If you're trying to figure out the accent, it is originally from Brooklyn, New York. However, I now live with my husband in Southern California, about an hour away from San Diego. What I would say that is true for me and so true for all the clients that I work with is that the education we received really prepared us to do that technical skill that we have. We have great skill set in what we do. And I believe that the education system really has missed the mark and it's costing business owners thousands and thousands of dollars, if not millions, because what they do as you're going through school is they prepare you to work for somebody else, to be an employee. They don't give you the skill set to be an employer, an entrepreneur, or a business owner. Because that, by the time you actually get out of school, you're ready to do that thing that you've been studying for. However, you don't know how to price your services. You don't know how to have sales conversations, right, and you don't know how to network. And as a result of that, 3 really critical skills for being able to have a business that supports your life as opposed to just bringing in another paycheck, barely making ends meet because you're self-employed, it's something that you kind of like figure out on the go. I really want to be able to correct that. I believe that if you're taking all the risks of being a business owner, then you get to enjoy the rewards, and there's ways to be able to do that with your business. It's something that I figured out the hard way. My husband, Steve, and I have been working together in some capacity our entire relationship, actually. So that goes back into the 80s, just to kind of date myself a little bit. With that, we've owned a counseling agency. Steve was the one really out there bringing in new clients. I was in the trenches. When I made the shift in 2009 from therapy into business coaching, it was because I was burned out. I was working long hours into the evening, seeing clients. I was working on weekends, doing paperwork as a result of that. I missed time going to sports events, to practices, dinners with my family. It took a toll on all of us. That's when I made that shift from the therapy into business coaching, because I already had the business that sucked the life out of me. And now I wanted one that would really be able to support my life. And I'm on a mission, really empower entrepreneurs to do the same, because when we lift each other up, we take our clients up the ladder with us. And as a result of that, it's just this flow of positivity.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's great. So Lauren, value is something difficult to describe, especially when it comes to pricing. So how do you explain the relationship between value and price?
I absolutely love answering this question, and I do it with a bottle of water. So basically, if you were at a place where I was talking, you were thirsty, you wanted to go to the back of the room to get something to drink, there was a water cooler there, and I had bottled waters for sale, how much would you pay for a bottle of water?
Typically it's like $4, right?
Maybe $1, right? If I was talking at the airport, you might pay more like $3. But in general, it's going to be about $1 for a bottle of water. Now, Leslie, I'm going to just say this to you directly. If you were wandering around in the hot, dry desert in August for 3 days, you knew you were like at the end where you didn't have much more to keep on going. You didn't know whether you were going to be going over the next sand dune and seeing the city or not. You had no clue, but all of a sudden I show up with this very same bottle of water. How much would you pay for that bottle of water now?
Probably whatever I had in my pocket, because I might die otherwise.
Okay, and if I took credit cards, you know, I had my square with me. How much do you think that bottle of water would be worth to you?
It'd probably be worth 10 to 100 times more than it was worth before.
Okay, then the $1 bottle of water became a $100 bottle of water. Mm-hmm. The point that I'm making is that value is subjective. Same bottle of water, same amount of ounces, same labeling, nothing changes except for your needs, your wants, and your desires. Mm-hmm. That's what value is connected to. You need the water at this point in order to survive. You haven't had a drink for 3 days. You can go longer without food than you can without water. You want the water to be able to quench your thirst and give you some more energy to keep on going and find your way out of the desert. And the desire is something that you want to achieve at some point in the future, and you don't think that you can have right now. And your desire is really to keep on living, and you're not ready to give up yet. And so when you can really find those needs, wants, and desires with your potential clients, then the value shifts from trading dollars for hours over to the outcome of what it is that you can do for them. And therefore recognize that it's not just about how you value your services, it's really about how someone else values your service, and recognizing what their needs, wants, and desires are. And then you have a stronger platform on being able to price based upon value, as opposed to simply trading dollars for hours.
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So why is it then so difficult for entrepreneurs to raise their rates? And what's the first step to help get them started?
Raising your rates. It's something that whether you are the big legacy company or a smaller solopreneur, we all struggle with it. It's something that all of us have to really do some diligence around before we go ahead and make that change. What I feel, it's similar to Pigpen from the cartoon Peanuts, where he has this cloud of dirt around him. And it's like this cloud of negativity that is just surrounding him all the time and doesn't go. And that's part of why it is so difficult for us to raise our rates, because our rates, what we price for our services, is first a mindset issue. And then you are able to figure out how to get it done. You might know what you want, you just don't know how to do it. So the very first thing you have to do is connect with your own value before you can expect someone else to value what you have to offer. But in order to connect with your own value, there's Pigpen. We have this cloud of beliefs and values that are surrounding us, and they're weighing us down, they're holding us back, they're having us overthink things and really question whether we can really do that. Some of the self-talk that comes up, and I would love to hear in the chat, what are some of the things that go through your mind as you're thinking about raising your rates? And would love to see what you have that you post there. Some of the self-talk that I've seen is, it feels like a really drastic step and it's uncomfortable. I just don't know how to do it. If I raise my rates, will it be okay, or am I going to get pushback? Because I don't like having uncomfortable conversations. Also, I'm concerned about losing someone who's a client because of the fact that if I raise my rates, they might not be able to afford my new fees. So those are some of the things that come up as we're starting to have these conversations. Other things that come up has to do with, I don't have enough experience, I don't have enough credentials behind my name. The other part is that nobody else charges that much. Who am I to be charging those fees? So those are some of the things that happen. But when you start to think about raising rates, you know that you ought to, and you don't do it, part of what happens is that you avoid raising your rates, even though you know that it's something you want to do. You have to work more in order to bring more money into your bank account. Because of that, you have a very high tolerance level. You have a high tolerance level for where things are instead of making a change because it feels uncomfortable. It's a little bit of a risk. You end up being stuck with non-ideal clients who want to pay you a little and expect a lot. They simply don't appreciate you. When that happens, you might end up getting some resentment or feeling burnout. And that's what happens when you hold on to lower rates than what you know you ought to be charging. And the way to be able to really solve this is it has to do with your mindset first, once again. Get into that frame of mind of, I do bring value. I know the difference that I make for my clients. If you're doing B2B services, which is most of the people here where you're working with another business, how do they benefit because of the service that you're providing them? The other thing that you want to do to really resolve this is start to see yourself as an expert and position yourself that way. When you do that, then we can start to separate your fees from time so that you're no longer trading dollars for hours. You're focusing on the outcome and the benefits because your highest value has to do with what you know as opposed to what you do. That is why someone is hiring you. I just want to say it one more time. Your highest value has to do with what you know as opposed to what you do. You think that what you do is really valuable because you've spent so much time, years, and invested money figuring that out, but your clients, they're not as concerned with your process as opposed to whether you can deliver on your promise or not. So that's the first thing is it is a mindset issue, Leslie.
Yes, and so much of it is a mindset. You're so right. Mindset is so important. So many of our clients realize they overthink things and they're ready to finally get out of their own way. Now that they're ready to do this, what is your 5-step system for raising your rates with existing clients?
Well, first of all, Karen knows part of the answer. She said, wouldn't it be better to set packages up and avoid the hourly rates? And I am right there with you. It's actually part of the 5 steps that I'm going to go into right now. So really glad that you're on board with that. What you want to do to be able to raise your fees is you first want to know who your ideal client is, what it is that they value about the work that you do for them. And there's actually 3 different types of value. The primary value is really the very concrete outcomes, the obvious one, the benefits that they get. It could be that maybe in some way you're helping them make more money. Maybe you're saving them time in certain ways, or you're relieving a particular headache for them. You're fixing something. So find that primary value. Now there's also the second type of value is a secondary value. Because of you helping them fix that thing or achieve something that they can't do on their own, what are some additional benefits that come from working with you? And maybe start to think about that. I would love to hear what some of the things are that your clients receive as value. Some of those might be because of them working with you and you help with cash flow in some way. You help them make money. They can now expand their staff and hire on more people. It could be if you're more of an advisor or strategist that they now have a plan that they can follow through to be able to get to that next level in their business. Or maybe because they were able to delegate something to you that they were doing on their own before, they might be able to then step into a higher level service that really adds value to their business. or possibly take a vacation that's been long awaiting that they hadn't been able to take before. So those are the primary and secondary. And then the third type of value is the hidden value. This is a question you actually want to be asking them as you're going through the conversation of how to raise your rates is, what is the cost of them not working with you? If they continue to struggle with this problem, it could be that they fail to really recognize a highly profitable source of income that you can help them really discover or build out. There might be money leaks that they're not even aware of because they're doing things manually instead of using an app that can automate something. Or it could be that they're having redundancy in their business where their services are duplicated. They don't even recognize that. Another type of hidden benefit of not enrolling with you could be that they're making some costly mistakes they aren't even aware of that affect their profitability, or they're holding on to something that really isn't best suited for what they're doing, and it worked well before, but it's not helping them advance their business and moving forward. So that's the first thing, is know the value, the primary, the secondary, and the hidden value when you're thinking about your ideal client. The second thing you want to look at is having your process. What is your workflow? What does it look like when someone's first thinking about working with you, or when you're talking to a client about the next level of working with you? And what is it from where they are now to where they want to be? What are those steps that you're going to take them through? The reason that you want to be able to articulate the process is because it lets them take something maybe that feels generic in their head. They can't really picture it. And once you tell them about each step in your process, they can now picture the steps and see what it would like to be able to go on this next step of the journey with you. It lets them make something a little bit more concrete and visual. The third thing you want to do, which we kind of mentioned, is packaging your services. You want to bundle services together. I believe that cable companies and communication companies do this really well. Mm-hmm. When you reach out to one of those companies, they are offering you internet services, they're offering you cable TV and phone lines. And they bundle them all together. And the more that you get, the bigger bundle, the better the value is. You could be paying probably the same monthly fee for a package of those three things as you would just for a standalone internet service. So when you're looking at packaging your services, look at how to bundle them together. What I believe is by doing that, it changes the decision that they're making with you. Mm-hmm. Instead of just a yes or no decision of yes, I want to be able to move forward with you, or not, I'm going to move on. Now you're giving them choices, and they have an option as to which way they want to work with you, as opposed to that yes or no of will they work with you or not. That means that when you look at these three different types of packages, and it's similar, Leslie, to what you just rolled out and we were talking about a while back, is you want to have that silver package. That is the most basic one, and it is for your price-sensitive clients that see the value of wanting to work with you, but aren't able quite yet to make the next leap. And then the second package you want to have is gold. Gold is going to be actually the most popular package, and most of your clients are going to actually fit into that one. That includes all the needs that they have, the things that they need to be able to have from you in order to be able to operate in their business, and it's going to include their wants also. Those wants are the things that they believe that they can't do on their own. So the gold package has needs and wants combined into it. And then you have some clients that always go for the highest level. Though the third package,
those.
Yeah, absolutely. But to be honest, those people are probably only 10% of your clients if you priced it right. Right. Those are your diamond level clients. And these are your VIP levels clients. They want it all. And the thing that they probably value most is your access and your expertise. So those are the three ways that you want to package your service. And Leslie, I know that it's something you've been doing yourself, you've been testing out. What have you seen come up with change for you?
Yes, we just recently redeveloped and relaunched HerAmong in April. And so we totally changed our packages for job seekers and employers. And I was nervous. I mean, I related so much to the description of this because I was like, what if nobody buys? What's going to happen? But I knew I had to do it because my previous business model was 12 years old. So I was way past due. And so the hardest part was figuring out the packages and the pricing. And, you know, there's always room to test. And that's kind of what I did. I've kind of tested one for about a month, and now I'm testing another one for a month. But Lauren was very helpful with my big package for employers because we were talking through it. And at first I had it as unlimited job post for a year. And as we talked about that, we're like, you know what, these entrepreneurs and small businesses, they're usually not posting a ton of jobs, maybe 3 a year, but they're not going to be posting 50 a year like some big corporation. And my niche is entrepreneurs, small businesses, coaches, and of course the moms or the people that want to work from home. So we kind of brainstormed and came up with another thing that we were going to be offering, which is a concierge service. And so for the same price now, we'll offer a concierge service, which basically is for those VIPs who want or need to hire someone. They don't have time, they don't want to do it. So we'll do the whole process start to finish, from consultation, writing the job post, posting the job, reviewing candidates, interviewing selected candidates, and then presenting the top 1 to 3 candidates so that they can make a final decision. So I think that's a much better fit for my audience. But sometimes it's just great to have someone like Lauren to brainstorm that through, because you're not really, sometimes you just kind of get gridlocked in what you're thinking. And it's always great to have someone experienced like Lauren to kind of help you think outside the box a little bit.
And I really appreciate it. First of all, it was a lot of fun doing that. And recognizing the point that you made, which was so important, is that you're looking at it from your perspective and you're so close to your own process. It's hard to be able to maybe see things simply because you're the one that created it and it looks ideal to you. But then as you get some outside eyes on it, you can then start to really fine tune it and take it from what you think it's important and find out what your clients really value, because what you valued and what they really value are two different things. I mean, especially when you're talking about entrepreneurs, we're busy people. We have smaller businesses because we wear so many hats, unlike corporate. Therefore, for you, the highest package that you could offer is really a done for you. It's like, let me just take it off my plate, have you do it and run with it. And then I can really focus on either developing new business or servicing my current clients. So really appreciate you doing that. I want to get back to the 5 steps. So the 4th step is really then having a value conversation. Instead of having a sales pitch or trying to enroll someone in continuing to work with you in this new platform, you want to have what's called a value conversation. And it really goes a little bit against what we tend to think these conversations ought to be. But I believe that you want to follow what I call the 70-30 rule. The 70-30 rule is where they're actually talking 70% of the time in this conversation, and you're talking 30%. A lot of times I'm like, no, I talk 70%. They only talk 30% because I have to explain and sell them my services. But that's not really true. That's one of those mistakes that we make, and the reality is counterintuitive. The way to be able to have them talk 70% of the time and you only talk 30 is you ask great questions and knowing exactly what types of questions to be asking. When you're looking to really package your services and go to value pricing with your clients, I believe that what you actually want to do is start having value conversations with new clients coming into you first that don't have a previous perception of what it's been like to work with you. Practice with the new clients and really get comfortable with having a value conversation with them first and being able to explain what your new offerings are, what your new prices are, being able to then gain awareness about where they still have questions, where there might be some resistance that you need to flesh out and then you can really build out a high value conversation. After you get really comfortable doing that with your new clients, then let's circle back to your current clients and start meeting with them also one at a time about what the new packages are. Therefore, it's not like you make the decision and you do this overnight with your current clients. It's really a process that you become comfortable with, because it's a whole new way of changing your business model that you need to connect with it first and be able to have them see the value before they're going to jump on board, because people resist change. And the very fifth thing is being able to ask for the sale, for them to really step into this new process with you. The way to do this is to position yourself as a trusted advisor when you're having this value conversation. That means that what you want to do is help them make a decision that's in their best interest, as opposed to one that's in your best interest. When you are able to detach from their decision, you're able to really serve them. I will let you know that I learned this lesson the hard way. And it was a painful, tough lesson. When I was first starting to do value conversations, price for value, offer packages, I was new in my business. This was back in 2009, and I had bills to pay. I didn't have a lot of clients rolling in on a regular basis at that point. I met with someone that was interested in working with me. We had a value conversation. I could see the potential. It looked like a great fit. And then it came to the point of the ask, being able to explain what I had to offer, asking this person to sign on with me. At that point, just something inside of me started to switch. It was ugly inside. Leslie, I spent so much time building up rapport and trust, and I actually broke it, because I shifted now from it being all about them to being about me. When it came time to talk about the part of working together and the money piece, I connected with the fact that I could use the money. And that I wanted to get paid for, bring on a new client because of my needs, as opposed to what was in their best interest. I am positive because of that, my body language changed and my tone of voice changed. I could feel myself going through this like a slow motion fall. And I couldn't stop myself from doing it. I didn't know how. After that, this person picked up and asked me why I wanted to work with them. I was very transparent and said, I know I can help you, and I would, think it would be fun, and I can use a new client. That's when the response was, well, let me think about it. At that point, we scheduled another conversation. We got back on the phone a couple of days later, and it wasn't a yes at that point. But as soon as that conversation was over, that initial one, I felt like I needed to take a cold shower and just cleanse myself of what happened. And that's when I really vowed to figure out how to never, ever, ever do that again, because it felt so out of integrity for me. That's when I became aware of really that place of being a trusted advisor, wanting to maintain the connection of being of service and doing what's in the best interest of the other person, as to focusing on my needs and what's in my best interest. It is possible to do that. And when you do that, it really separates you from so many other people that are having that similar conversation, where all of a sudden they're thinking about getting a new client, a sale, putting more money in the bank so that they can go ahead and pay some bills. So really step up as that trusted advisor, focus on them, and be of service all the way through. It's a tough lesson, but it is possible. And I know that it happens to some of the people that are listening to us also.
Yes, absolutely. And that's a great example of learning from your mistakes and making it, something better out of it. Because if you hadn't done that, you probably wouldn't have been as passionate and strong in your delivery after that. So.
Absolutely. Oh my God, those tough lessons. We all have them, right?
Absolutely. So that's a great strategy. I'd like some action steps. How do you coach your clients when they get ready to get started?
Well, I think that so often it's like I need to give someone a permission slip to step out of the classroom and go to the bathroom or something like that. And the very first thing a lot of times is that people need permission to raise their rates. They need someone else to validate that it's okay to do that. And I just want to say, if you will listen to this, you absolutely have a permission slip to go ahead and stop thinking about it and getting it done. Some of the action steps is really, as I mentioned before, connect with your value, know who your ideal client is, and then really recognize what is those primary things that they value, the secondary things, and then the hidden cost of them not working with you. That is really what you want to do first, is to focus on those things. And once you do that, then you want to start to separate your fees from time, because it's about realizing that when you charge by the hour, the session, or the project, it actually pits you against your clients. Pricing by the hour is not fair, and for you or for them. The reason that pricing by the hour is not fair for them is because they want it to be done faster, and for you to make more money, you have to take longer to do that. So that's why it's not faster. It's because it puts you on opposing sides of how getting paid for your services and then receiving the service. The reason it's not fair for you is because as you gain expertise and you become more effective as well as efficient of that thing that you do, then you earn less money as you become better and gain expertise than when you first started out and you just didn't know the process as well. So the longer that you've been doing it, the faster you're getting, you earn much less money if you're charging by the hour. So I really encourage you to look at this differently with how you price your services. And if you value price your services, then they are actually on the same page as you. They want you to deliver it faster. And because you're not charging for time anymore, you're charging for an outcome or fixing a problem, it's in your best interest to do it quickly also. It actually encourages you to find ways to deliver your service faster, because you make more money if you get it done sooner than having it be a long drawn out thing. So that's the first thing to think about. The next thing is, how do you communicate this? You might want to start out with writing a client-centered email that makes it about them, that you're making some changes to your business model that will actually benefit them. Some of the benefits to value pricing, and you don't want to put this in your email yet, but just for you to have this awareness, is that some of the benefits is that they're going to have a fixed cost. It makes it easier for them to budget. That way there's no surprise bills at the end of the month because they thought it was going to be so many hours and it took X amount of hours. Or how many times do you write off extra hours because they would just charge, if they were just going to pay all that, it would be so exorbitant they would never pay your bill or there would be pushback. The other thing you want to look at with this change in your business model is going from a la carte services to a package where you're bundling things together. And then the other thing is to recognize that you want to focus on deliveries and outcomes instead of time. So start out by writing a client-centered email that explains your business model is changing and you'd like to have a conversation with that. Then the next thing you do is you schedule a conversation that's either in person or by phone, depending on how you work with your clients, that really focuses on figuring out their wants, their needs, and desires of what they want to move forward with and how you can help them. And start to ask those great questions about where it is that you can add value and how that would work. Some of the things that you want to focus on during that value conversation is, what is the metrics? How would they know if your work together was successful? Finding out what this is worth to them. Looking at maybe what are some things that they're even overlooking that they didn't even think about, and you might be bringing some of that to the table, similar to what Leslie was talking about when we looked at her packages with the VIP package. So think about, what are some of those metrics, find out why this matters to them and what it's worth to them, and maybe look at some things that they might even have overlooked because they didn't even realize that that was a consideration for achieving that outcome. And then during the value conversation, give them the 3 options of how to work together. So it's not about if they're going to work with you and move forward or not. It's about which package is a best fit for their needs. And then once again, help them decide really what's in their best interest as opposed to your best interest. And the other thing to look at is that there will be pushback. A lot of times when there's pushback, it's like we become the wicked witch of the West, where you get that one little drop of water and all of a sudden you melt into a puddle of water yourself. You just cave into the objections and the pushback because it's so uncomfortable. What I want you to do is recognize that that is good. They have questions that you just didn't answer yet for them. And you want to know what those additional questions are, or where the gaps are in your conversation that you need to be able to fill in so that they can really make an informed decision. So don't let those objections be where you just cave in, you melt away, and you end the conversation. Be prepared for them. Know what the top objections are that you're going to get. They tend to be primarily about your rates. A lot of times it might be that they want to talk with somebody else. They might have a business partner or a life partner that they need to consult with first. The third thing might be about time, and they don't see how they can fit this type of workflow into their busy calendar. There might be other objections depending on what your service is, but those are typically the top three. And know how you want to respond to them beforehand, and that way you're better prepared to really maintain that position of being a trusted advisor instead of just caving into those objections. So those are some of the things that I would see to help you go through the process of shifting from charging by the hour, or where your rates currently are, to your higher pricing. Is really, it's a mindset first. It's about really having that value conversation, letting them know that you're going to be changing some things through email, and that you want to schedule an in-person conversation. Ask great questions that really show the value. Offer your 3 packages, and then really help them make that decision, especially when they raise some objections about what might be coming up for them. Work through that. So that is really what I would say to get started. I know that it was a ton.
Yeah, that is a ton, but fortunately people can rewatch this if they don't remember everything you said, and obviously connect with you. I just want to say, I mentioned that I just recently changed my business model. And so when I emailed my email list, I'm a little bit different since I don't work one-on-one necessarily. But I was like, oh, send, and what's going to happen? And out of all of my database, and I want to say, probably 3,000 people on my mail list. I don't know how many of those read it, but I only have one person's, and she wasn't really complaining. She was just asking me to justify it. So it wasn't as bad as I thought. And I've had 0 other complaints or negative feedback. So it was just one person who wanted a little more information. So I hope that encourages your our attendees here today.
Right.
So,
and Karen had a question I wanted to just answer. And if anybody else is listening and has any questions I can answer, would love to be able to do that. But basically, first of all, she said what you shared was very encouraging, Leslie. So that was wonderful. And then Karen also wanted to know if you can have too many packages, or do you want to limit it to 3? This is really my response. Is research has shown that 3 is the ideal number that you want to offer. You want to really have that basic one, which has just the minimal results. Those might be for people that are price sensitive, or they're more of DIYs. They like to do it themselves. They just need to know how to do it. And then you want to have that gold level, which really is where the majority of clients fit in. And then the VIP for the people that really want it done for them, or that they want to have more access to your one-on-one time, which is where your highest value is. Mm-hmm. And Karen, with that being said, there's a caveat. What I see, and I do it a little bit more complex, is that you might have 3 different levels of clients. You might have someone who is really, let's say, in that startup phase. They just need the minimal amount of services. Then you might have people that fit into this middle category of they're in a growth phase and they're ramping up, and they need different services than people possibly in a startup phase. And then you might have your highest level legacy clients who have really been doing this for a while. and need a different type of service than people in a growth phase or a startup phase. And what I do with my clients when we recognize that they actually have these different levels of clients that they work with is we come out with 3 packages for each category. We come out with 3 packages for startups. We come out with a different set of 3 packages that is for the growth-minded entrepreneurs. And then we come out with a third set of 3 packages available for the legacy clients. And therefore, the packages really give you a foundation that you can mix and match according to the needs of who you're talking with. You're not recreating everything, but the more that you can productize your service, the easier it's going to be for you as far as workflows go and being more effective in what you do, as well as becoming more efficient. Mm-hmm. If anybody else has any questions, please let me know, share them, and I will answer them too.
In the meantime, Lauren, just wanted to thank you because you shared a lot of valuable information. And if anybody would like to get in touch with you or talk to you, what do you recommend?
There's 2 different ways to be able to get in touch with me. The very first one is if you wanted the steps on how to start to increase your rates and have value conversations, looking at my resource, Get Paid What You're Worth. It is at businesssuccesssolution.com/worth. I will actually, let me put the link in the chat. Give me 1 second. With this resource, what it does is it goes through the 5 different steps of how to get paid what you're worth. It looks at how to focus on your strengths because you want to be able to figure that out as you start to develop packages. Being able to start to separate your fees from time. Recognizing that success is messy. If I wanted you to be able to double or even triple your rates by the time that this conversation is over, what are some of the yes buts or where you need to think about it more that comes up for you, where you're getting in your own way because you might have contradictory beliefs or values. It looks at how to position yourself as an expert and what your system is. And then the 5th thing that it looks at is figuring out what is the problem that you solve for your clients. So what is it that they really are struggling with, and you are the one that can help them be able to resolve that. Also, if anybody resonated me, would like to be able to have a further conversation, see what it would be like to be able to get this done for yourself because you've been thinking about it, you're ready to now move forward with it. I actually offer a strategy session where we can talk about what it is you want to achieve, where things currently are in your business, and be able to figure out what that might look like for you. So it starts out with one of my team members having a first conversation with you, and then they pass you on to a longer conversation with me as well. And the link for that is businesssuccesssolution.com/let's talk. One of the things that Karen says, in addition to packages, would you offer a la carte pricing but at a premium? I think it depends. One of the things that what I hear when I hear a la carte is that maybe you experience scope creep, and how do you be able to deal with scope creep when other things come up that might not be in your packages. I believe that we can absolutely adjust for that in order to avoid undercharging or becoming aware of something and then not being able to bring it into your contract. So that would be a way to be able to have another conversation and be able to maybe adjust the package that you do have for them. So that is pretty much it. Anything else on your end, Leslie, that you want to add?
No, I don't have any more questions. I think you've done a fabulous job of giving us some tips and strategies and where to go to get more information. So this is extremely helpful.
I appreciate that. And once again, like I said, if you took value away, you want to have a conversation, it's businesssuccesssolution.com/let's talk. Would love to hear what it is that you want to achieve in your business. Thank you so much, Leslie.
Yeah, thank you, Lauren. I appreciate all your time and all your expertise.
Absolutely. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye, everyone.